There is a growing amount of research now that indicates the harmful effects of social media on mental health, especially for youth. And now one new research study is showing that one group of users in particular are more prone to crashes in mood and things like negative body image after using social media. So let's find out more about this. Dr. Simon Sherry is a clinical psychologist and professor in the Department of Psychology and Neuroscience at Dalhousie University. He co-authored this recently published study and is here to tell us more. Dr. Sherry, good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on the show. Tell me about this study. What group are most susceptible to the pitfalls of social media these days?
Well, there are a range of reasons how and why people use social media. And our study highlights that social media consumption may be particularly harmful for perfectionists.
So tell me, by definition, what is a perfectionist? Because I've heard that, vernacular talked about in my social circles. Doctor, I'm a perfectionist. But is that like what is that definition, and how are they more susceptible to some of the harmful effects of things like social media?
Within science, we define perfectionism as most people would, relentlessly pursuing perfection. There's also a clear element of self-criticism. People who are perfectionistic are often self-doubting, tending to check and recheck their work to ensure if it's perfect. And for perfectionists, there's often a real, tangible, intense pressure to be perfect from other people, a pressure that's felt on a day-to-day basis. In terms of social media usage, we studied 135 female young adults over 4 weeks, studying them on a week-to-week basis. And what we found is when perfectionistic young women compare themselves to others on the internet, they're prone to crashes in mood, periods of negative emotion and depression-like states. And they're also prone to having a negative body image, feeling poorly about their weight, shape, size, and overall physical appearance. So it looks like perfectionists are prone to making upward comparisons on the internet that then lead to a crash in their mood.
And so what impact has the past couple of years, like a pandemic, for example, and, greater isolation, what is that, what is the impact of that on this study?
We've known for some time that social media and excessive screen time can be harmful, especially for our youth. With excessive screen time, you see problems like depression and obesity, and these problems quite likely emerge through sedentariness. If you're sitting around scrolling passively all the time, you're not active and engaged in your world. Excessive screen time can also compromise mental health by restricting sleep. So it is as if social media impacts on some very basic factors from activity levels to sleep levels that then undermine the health of our youth. And these conditions have been exacerbated in a pandemic that has taken youth from school, from recreation, from sports and other activities.
So what is the answer? What's the solution here? It's funny that we talked about this just this morning. I was reading a global national article on our website that says some of the challenges that parents are facing if you have kids in social media use. If you restrict it totally, then they're probably more drawn to it because it's something they're being asked not to do. There was a Canadian families here saying, I have no control over this. So what do we do as parents for adolescent girls or boys in social media use?
First of all, let me express a lot of empathy because I am the parent of a tween, and this battle unfolds in my own life on a day-to-day, if not minute-to-minute basis. But there are some immediate action points parents can take. One is consider that you're a role model. Your own use of social media, your own use of your phone is observed and often imitated by your child. So if you want them to be different, that change can start with you today. You might also want to be aided by something like a screen control device. You can put restrictions on social media or internet use within your household to support necessary changes. It's also important to have a diverse life. You need to have a series of behaviors that are incompatible with excessive screen time. For instance, it's very hard to be on a screen and swimming, playing ping pong, or skating around the oval. So if you have a diverse life, that's often a protective factor. Lastly, I think we want to encourage a healthy sense of skepticism in our children to realize that they're often consuming unrealistically positive, digitally altered images, and to have them think critically about those images and what it means to internalize those images and how they might impact mental health, undermining esteem, or creating low mood.
All right, up against for time. I've got so many questions about this because much like you, I've got kids too, but are still on the younger side of things. But I mean, one of the quotes in that article, issues 10 years ago that impacted grade 9s are now impacting grade 7s. Issues that impacted grade 8s are now impacting grade 5. So it seems to be getting younger and younger as social media becomes, more and more in our daily lives here. But that's it for time. Thanks so much for the time this morning, Dr. Sherry. Appreciate it.
I appreciated the conversation. Thank you.